one thing you have on your side is it has to be easier to stay than switch. Going through the process with another company has to be challenging, and maybe they're getting blown up, 9 times by all these other different partners, but you have their email, you have their phone, if you can reach out to them and say, we are your existing insurance provider. Another issue that I see, and especially in Medicare, I'm hearing the issue of, direct mail made me think of retention rates. So a lot of these consumers, their information is whether they're filling out multiple lead forms so I think that's one piece of it. They're filling out multiple lead forms. The second is you might have not bought that lead exclusively, so it's shared and, so many companies are calling it. And then I think, there always has to be a piece of you're buying insurance online or through the phone, so you don't have a personal relationship like you did in the old days with that insurance agent. So I see companies saying, why is there such turnover on my retention rate? Why can't I keep these consumers longer? And, what can I do to help with that?
Yeah, I could totally see that. I mean, anytime you're buying leads of any type, other than somebody that you, let's say direct mail, or you generated yourself through your own properties, then that's exclusive. Otherwise, you just have to assume that you're competing. And even with that being said, I know companies where it's their own property, they're generating it through their own landing page, but that consumer is Googling and then filling out a bunch of forms. So it might be exclusive to you, but you can't assume that they're not
right,
playing the field with everybody. And yeah, that's a big challenge, is that retention. And it's exceptionally challenging when salespeople are just selling in the moment and the company isn't mitigating that, either with building the relationship with the follow-up to ensure the stickiness of that consumer, which for the verticals you're dealing with, that's like you want that person long-term in order for that to be a profitable sale. And so you have to ensure that they don't leave you, versus you mentioned mortgage, right? Like if I help you get a mortgage, I don't have to worry next month after we close the deal that you're going to go get a different mortgage for somebody else. Like that's not generally a thing unless rates drop. And so I can sell you once and not have to worry about it for years, versus what you're talking about. And that's a completely different retention game for sure.
Right. And one way I'm seeing people adjust to that is historically, nobody's wanted to buy duplicates. If they already had the consumer, in their database, they're not going to bid on that lead, or they're going to post reject it. Now I'm seeing a bit of a shift where people are changing their mindset because of retention rates and saying, okay, if it's a consumer I already bought, like a lead in my system that I've sold to, I'm actually might consider bidding up, because I don't want them to go and talk to a different call center and then get flipped. So I'm essentially buying the same consumer twice to improve my retention rate because I already have them on my paper.
So what you're saying is that I already have this consumer. I already have John Smith. I sold him, let's say, insurance, right?
Yep.
And so I sold him insurance 3 months ago. And then John Smith just popped up again because he filled out a form. And then now he's a new lead in the system. And I would want to buy him because I essentially want to take him off the market so that my competitors don't get to him.
Exactly. And bringing back in those trusted form data insights, one of those is lead age. So if you're, partnering and looking at the insights, you might say, I can see John Smith actually did fill out another form 4 minutes ago. Why is he shopping? Maybe he's not happy. So maybe we get him on the phone, we buy that lead and we route it to customer service instead of sales, or the retention team, or, you name it. But the value of that consumer is way more than the $7 or $8 you might have won the lead for.
Yeah, because if you lose that client, especially like I said, and what we know is that if the lifetime value and let's say the break-even point is several months or longer of somebody who needs to be a client before, everything is recouped from marketing to sales, commissions, overhead. You don't want to lose that person. You'd rather spend a little bit to just ensure. Now, obviously what that is assuming is that lead is exclusive, which goes back into the exclusive part, right? It's like, if that's John Smith and he only filled out the one form and that company's only selling it to me, then that makes sense. But even not, right? Even if I just assume it's not exclusive and I assume John Smith has filled out 9 other forms and is about to get 1,000 phone calls from all of my competitors, it still would help me, is what you're saying,
Definitely.
to then know and trigger it. It's basically just an alarm that would go off and say, this dude's shopping, someone needs to go save him and talk him out of it.
And you got to think too, one, you have faith in your own reps and your agency that you're going to win out against 9 other people. But one thing you have on your side is it has to be easier to stay than switch. Going through the process with another company has to be challenging, and maybe they're getting blown up, 9 times by all these other different partners, but you have their email, you have their phone, if you can reach out to them and say, we are your existing insurance provider. We're here if you're having issues. Here's our direct customer service line, things like that, to try to bring them back in.